Hello, warm greetings from Indonesia, from the island of Bali in Indonesia. Well, greetings to all of you SID Executive Committee members. I know some of you are gathered with your families. This is Sabbath morning. This is a very special day. And I believe that God is willing to bless all of you. I will be preaching in this Sabbath in a church here in the island of Bali, Indonesia, after a stewardship week with all stewardship directors from the SSD. Well, you know what? We believe that the Lord is calling you to a worldwide movement. We are calling that movement God First. And we believe that Jesus himself was the originator of that movement when he said, "Seek first God's kingdom and his righteousness, and all things will be added to you." I was wondering what will be of our families if we should restore that perception. I mean, putting God first in our families. How would be our routines inside our family if we would restore that perception of putting God first, beginning in my personal life? In the very moment when I wake up, my first thoughts should belong to Jesus, to prayer, to talk to him, not to WhatsApp, not to Facebook, not to any other social media. I am very tempted to do that, but I have decided to ask the Lord. This is a struggle to me because I tend to wake up and go right to the work I need to do that day. But the Lord is calling me to come, to be apart with him, to study my Bible, to have a time of prayer, then to study my Sabbath school quarterly. This is very important. We must restore Sabbath school in our church life, in our church members' life. And we must say to them that this is very important. But first of all, it must be important in our own lives. And then to read perhaps a very small part, but every day a small part of the spirit of prophecy. What that activities will do to our spiritual life. But we need to put this in first place, because by what Jesus said, it seems that not only to seek the Lord is important, but the priority we give to this seeking will affect the result. What if we extend this concept to our family life, beginning with family worship? What place is family worshiping occupying in your family life? Is it the first place, the very first place, even before breakfast, before any other activity? And is it also occupying the last place? Because Jesus said, "I am the Alpha, I am the Omega." So according to what we have said from Ellen White and also from the Bible, we should have family worship every day of our lives. Morning, very early in the morning, and also in the evening. So what about renew our commitment with the Lord related to family worship, to Sabbath keeping, to teach again to our children how to keep the Sabbath? It must begin inside our minds. My mind must be taught to delight itself in the Sabbath. My natural mind does not like the Sabbath because I like to do other things. I don't like to restrain myself. I would like to be free to think on what I want. But the Lord is calling us to another kind of freedom, a spirit of freedom, to be closer to him and to bring our children with us. Our children must keep the Sabbath with us, because the commandment said that everyone under our roof must keep the Sabbath. This is God's commandment, and we will find that in Exodus 20. Well, what about TMI? What about putting the Lord first in our missionary efforts? What about putting the Lord first when it comes to our physical habits? We need to eat, to exercise, and to do everything for the glory of God, not for the glory of ourselves. What about our relationships? Our spouse must not be the most important person in our life. Jesus must occupy that place. And if he will occupy the first place, God will control our relationship. Am I not in need of forgive someone? What about faithfulness? Am I faithful in my relationships? Oh, what about loving? Don't I need to love more? Not with that kind of selfish love we naturally have, but that kind of love that comes from the Lord himself. What about putting Lord first in our financial life, saying, Lord, I believe that every income comes from you, and I will recognize that by giving you my tithes and my offerings. I am not trying to help the church. I am not able to help the church. You helps me, and I recognize that by returning to you as an act of worship, because I believe you are controlling my life. You are in the control of my life. You are my God. So I come before you with my tithes and my offerings. And I want to teach my children, perhaps giving them a monthly allowance. And very small, but teaching them how to tithe from what belongs to them. This is very important, because we need to do things by habit. Developing good habits will develop good character. And the character is the only thing we will bring to heaven. May God bless you this morning as you participate, because we believe that this movement belongs to all departments, not only to stewardship. It must belong to all our churches, all our families. But the Lord first. Restore the Lord as the most important person, activity, everything in your family life, in your church life. May the Lord bless you as you are together to decide the future of the church in this beautiful territory. May the Lord be with your families also, and your children, and of course. God bless you. Have a very, very good Sabbath.